right. Well, good afternoon. Happy Wednesday. Or is it something like, I guess it is Wednesday, even though it is Enemizer week for League Link to the Past. Season 7. Cannot wait. In this particular case, this is always a really fun, popcorn-filled week to kind of end the regular season for League. These guys have battled out for 6 previous weeks before, and what better way to end at least the regular season with some co-op and really not knowing what you're expecting the entire time that you're playing this game. Enemizer, a little bit changing from previous seasons in that this is actually Logical Enemizer. Now, you might ask, now what's the difference between the previous Enemizer that we've all known versus the Logical Enemizer? Well, arguably, Logical Enemizer is much harder, much more randomization and what you can have available to you as part of the enemy set for what you can encounter. And we have, the undefeated Use Bow team with Telethar and Gem facing off versus a perfect unadulterated gaming squad, Daaanty and Andy. And Telethar and Gem already have, and along with Mike, their teammates, have already kind of secured their spot in the division playoffs, and so they won their entire thing being undefeated. So I think they're just playing this probably for seeding, for fun. Andy and Daaanty and Werfjig, as part of their team, might have slightly more work to do in order to hopefully secure a place in the playoffs. But here we go. We have Daaanty and Andy going through. We already get a nice look at Uncle. I can't believe Uncle has a heart container for us already. What kind of mode is this? Having so much health already, of course. Yeah, we also do see Berna being picked up on Andy's side as well, with along with Telethar. And so need a little bit of magic, but Berna, cape, health, armor, even maybe a shield would be very much desired in Enemizer, because you really don't know what you're expecting. Nice fire rod, by the way, and the mushroom spot for Telethar. That's probably going to be a not necessarily an immediate pickup, but something that is going to be higher priority. Yeah, and also seeing that some of chat is already mentioning that in addition to the minions and overworld enemies and bumpers, as we've seen in Lost Woods, being shuffled into the pool, which something that a regular Enemizer or non-logical Enemizer couldn't really do before. We also do have the bosses being shuffled as well, and so there are definitely some fan favorites. Ice Trinex, for example, in GT right before it's taking the spot of Ice Armos is definitely my favorite one. Helmasaur in Mothula spot is also a fan favorite. Daaanty, trying to brave Agina. Normally these locations aren't so bad because there's just kind of those sandmen that are kind of hiding under the ground, but you can avoid them pretty easily. But no, when you enemize the enemies out, and now they're, well, visible, they're also very lethal, but nice blue mill pickup. We also just see a lot of good goodies here in Kakariko. Certainly going to be applies to Andy right now is also getting for the pugs. Is we got a moon pearl, we got a lamp in the back of Blind Hut. Yeah, this is for not having a sword. We have like a lot of other extra things that can kind of keep us safe. And yes, I think it was Fear who, of course, one of the original founders of League, had mentioned before that I think one of their initial goals or desires for especially ending the week with Enemizer is what better way to end it? If you can basically go through the entire game and just keep dying, have the most chaos, and of course that was actually one of the reasons why they started with boots without a sword, because dashing into enemies or not dashing into enemies can be quite difficult. But good mobility already. Having a mirror, being on the library, locked by the boots. So very nice dark world and light world traversal already. And we got a nice book, okay, in the tavern. Daaanty probably wishes he had that when he went over to go to Agina first. but it's fine. Yeah, looks like we also picked up a bottle. So we're gonna go to Sick Kid. Just a couple of extra bombs. And again, bombs, yes, you'll still, that's probably your primary source of weaponry for at least the early game, especially without a sword, without any type of other like melee weapon or even ranged weapon. Like right now we don't have any bows. And especially now for Enemizer, bombs are probably higher value than, I would say, like a typical non-Enemized scene. Yeah, kind of beach tracing each other's steps. Oh, we had a glove here in the well too. Oh wow, that's a glove and pearl. Where's our hammer? Where is our other glove? That is going to be Darkwood access pretty quickly. And the other thing, probably about the note, is that this is actually not all dungeons. This is not Key Standard. It's just pure Enemizer. So 7-7. You still have to go defeat Ganon, which means you have to make the GT climb after all 7 crystals. And so it is still, you kind of play this as a, I would say, like, well, regular co-op. It's just that you don't have to go and beat all the dungeons. Now, you still may need to beat all the dungeons because it could just still be like a all crystals, all pendant, ped, aga require dark world seed. That won't change things, but at least for the goal itself, it doesn't have to be required. And we're seeing telethar. Andy's already gotten past these. I would consider to be significantly easier enemies than the mini moldorm caves, than they typically are. Any goodies? We seem to be a little short on money. And what we've seen before is that whenever we get a glove or flippers, Zora does get put in logic almost immediately. Nice stop there for Andy's side, being right before. This case is again one of the fun parts about Enemizer, being here over in the ice cross screen area. Oh my gosh! Oh, talking about getting crabbed by the pugs. Oh my gosh, Andy playing with fire here. And yes, all right. So it's not. It looks like it's just not necessarily only the pugs that can fall victims to the most anxiety-inducing screen of the game. It does not change in regular non-enemized. That certainly doesn't change. In Enemizer, very nice heads-up play there on Telethar's side to take the iframes from the water. Yeah, and I think it looks like we also got a very early fairy to bottle. Again, any type of safeties, by the way. Especially, it looks like we don't actually have a lot of magic. Daaanty probably being the only one who's actually visited Uncle and having some prudence into picking up the magic. Very, very nice move, just in case you need that panic button, right, for like Berta or something like that. Yep, we love rollers. Telethar's trying. Oh my gosh, we got the other, and we have a flute. Interesting. That is Flipper Lock, found on Andy's side in Waterfall Fairy. Yeah, so pretty nice check. I'm gonna assume that, yeah, Telethar's gonna pick this up momentarily. Does certainly have some sort of indication about where maybe the flippers might be, or maybe the flippers might show up early. Certainly won't be at Hobo, which is where Andy's going. Telethar's gonna get his bee friend, just like Andy. Oh, but Hobo, being the royal he is, has our ice straw. Now, as Chad kind of alluded to before, because the bosses are shuffled, we may see 0 Trinexes. We may see more than 1 Trinex, kind of depending. Trinex necessarily can't show up in all the arenas, like Moldorm 2, or I think even like Moldorm 1. But in other places, 0 to 2, typically. Thanks, thanks, Ruby. Yeah, and but so if Titter Rock is a crystal, we still may or may not see Trinex, but the boss is shuffled, so we could not need an ice rod. But of course, then you maybe get to the back of desert, and then you just are faced with 3 turtle heads, and you're just kind of sad if you don't have an ice rod in your possession. Oh, Mitz and Spec Rock Cave. Alright, well that is our Darkhold access. Daaanty, of course, giving us a pretty nice map check. Fire pendant, ice pendant. It looks like it was Eastern, the other pendant. Okay. what these guys wouldn't do for a sword right about now. You thought swordless was a great build before. What about swordless enemizer with boots? And actually, Daaanty having a little bit of extra magic is actually going to be able to use the fire rod in order to hit these switches. This is also where underrated items, like such as like the boomerang, for example, where things that don't really do very much typically, or maybe just are some convenience items, suddenly become much more useful when you have, well, encounter, let's say, Hera Lobby. Mimics are amazing. Hilarious. Alright, Daaanty, looking in this case, maybe considering how he kind of wants to approach, yeah, the original beetle, beetle room in Hera. Yeah, and one of the ways that you can actually come up here is one of the intended ways, actually, or possible ways in order to get through the room, is that you can use the 2 pots to kill at least 2 of the beetles or knock them off or whatever, leave the room, like go back downstairs, and then come back up and the pots will respawn. So you actually don't necessarily need a weapon to get to at least open the door, but it's kind of what we're seeing though. Daaanty still needs to go hit the switch, or he wants to hit the switch, so... Isn't Hera fun? Hera's such a great place. There's a Lionel guarding the big chest too. Wow. Oh, hilarious. I hope Daaanty survives this. I don't think he has a fairy. That is one talented pug, let me tell you. Alright, Telethar in desert, presumably with his book. Now, he has a multitude of fire sources. Sadly, no viable weapon in order to beat Lamolus. Now, I know what you're all thinking. As long as we get some magic, Berna is in fact a viable option. You are technically correct. However, this is Team Usebo, and they're named this for a reason. Every single race that they have won so far in League, they have used the bow on Lambos. Now, it may have cost them 20 seconds in order to use the bow in order to kill Lambos. However, it does not apparently stop them from winning. So. Now, that's actually a good point. Okay, Telethar, already checking with the compass. Very nicely timed, Telethar. In that, yeah, it actually does not have necessarily be Lambos back there, and we cannot kill it. One of the nice features about Enemizer is that if you have the compass of the dungeon, it will tell you what boss there is in the back, so you don't have to spend whatever, like the 1.5 to 2 minutes or whatever in pod or east into sea, only to get back there, and then it's a Trinex, or it's a cold stare, and you don't have a fire rod or something. But in this case, it is Argus in the back of desert, so we need a hook shot for that. Ooh, yeah, 300 rupees in Checkerboard Cave, a good Zora money, potentially good spending cash money as well. And again, this is one of those modes where bottles are also somewhat more valuable, because you actually see already finding the bottle, the fairy in a bottle earlier kind of suddenly saved Telethar and Andy like a re-trip over to the Azra Cave area. Also, you can buy potions with extra money, and bottles are a very good item to store potions or safeties with. I would like to know where this extra sword is, though. I understand that we're not even 15 minutes in, but these guys have already had Dark World access. And of course, this is being co-op. Things move a little bit faster because you have up to twice as much coverage as you would normally for a rando seed. We have a sword! A vanilla sword! Yeah, especially one of the things that are probably one of the more accessible things in order to get with the mirror with the mitts. You can actually see Telethar somewhat following suit rather quickly because sword's pretty important these days for at least being able to for survivability. Now that doesn't mean that they won't turn down like Master Sword or Tempered Sword or even Gold Sword for that matter. Again, Gold Sword is something that when you're faced with all these Lionels and whatever else, any type of extra comfort, niceness requirement becomes much more desired. But that first sword is pretty important. So it looks like Daaanty is going to be the one for the pugs in order to go get the sword. Since he's pretty close to digging game, presumably he'll kind of follow through and go back. Whilst and Andy, I didn't actually see in this case if he picked up the compass yet in Eastern. Presumably not, maybe. And but this is also, for what it's worth, it's a pendant. And so we may not have to go and beat this boss. Looks like Andy is just kind of searching through, being a bit more thorough, making sure that we don't actually leave any sphere, whatever, 0 or 1, however you want to consider this, checks behind. Can be actually pretty difficult to go back to if something is important here and then you lose it for 30 minutes and you last location and then you're pretty unhappy. Andy doing his, oh my gosh, absolute best to avoid the Igor. Yes, they have auto water walking powers, despite the fact you can't see their feet whatsoever. And yes, because Andy is in a fake flipper state, that would have sucked a lot if he ended up getting hit there. I remember Zap at some point. Had mentioned that statues, which can be enemized, do appear. It does actually look like there is at least one to maybe a very fat statue, wide, big stone statue in the place where you would normally dash down in Thieves Town, which kind of blocked Telethar's path. Oh, that's hilarious. And of course, we can't actually see that because it's under the awning. Oh, it's so hilarious. Where do we pick up this hook shot, by the way, that Jump has? And we're actually already in Swamp Palace. Maybe this is on Purple Chest? In High Pick. Oh, thank you, Windfish. Well, that's an extremely convenient hook shot then. Considering we had flippers in Dig Game, we had a sword on Smith, and we have a hook shot in Spike Cave. Perfect. Well, I don't know. For better, for worse, we're here in Swamp now. And what boss can't we beat right now? We cannot beat a Trinex, which could be back here. Yeah, actually, speaking of Telethar being bullied, and being here, I didn't even kind of like realize this in Enemizer, being here in the back of Thieves Town. Typically speaking, or at least like commonly, I don't actually see a lot of runners go to the back first. They typically just try to do the front four, and then because it's Enemizer, you can get a peek for what's in the boss room. Kind of like without penalty, because if it's not blind, if it's, I don't know, like moldorm or like landmost or something, you can actually just go beat the boss, and then you get whatever prize it is. In this case, it's a crystal. So now that being said, maybe I just missed it and Telethar ended up taking a peek. If it is vanilla blind, you will still have to go and rescue the maiden. The blind will not spawn there if you don't. Maybe that's what Telethar's actually doing now. Assuming he lives. we see kind of Daaanty and following gem. Yeah, into Swamp Palace. Yeah, lots of fun goodies here. These guys really do wish they had a better sword. Now, beggars can't be choosers. You will get your first sword and keep it, and you will like it, mister. Oh, I need to survive. Yeah, meanwhile, though, Andy, it looks like he is actually just doing a bit more coverage, being in Skullwoods. This is the first one. Nice roller, or bumper, by the way, in front of the big chest. Alright, looks like Jem did a quick map check in the dungeon. It is, in fact, going to be Moldorm, so this is going to be crystal number 1 down for use bow. Do not be alarmed, by the way, in what's happening in the upper left-hand screen and Telethar side. He was just so enthralled by the fact that it was a vanilla blind and that he put down his glasses. And we get a sword on blind himself. Jem's like, can I have that sword, please? Nice. 8 eyes, is that correct? 6 eyes? 6-eyed Moldorm? Yeah, you can kind of see Moldorm, well, yes, he still like can knock you quite far away and does damage to you. There is like no danger because there's no platform to knock you off of. So some bosses end up getting easier or become easier. More often than not, though, like they will become harder in the arena that they're in. Anything really like on conveyors, on slimes, when there are extra spikes around that you're not expecting, yeah, they can certainly be more challenging. Cold Stare and Skullwoods that we said? Oh, baby. Get your popcorn out. Get your nice melted butter popcorn out. Andy is here on Fighter Sword? Is that right? Can you do this? Oh, that's true. That's true. Spikes 2 gold sword damage. He still has to knock out the spikes into the knock the puffs into the spikes. He should have enough magic for this. He's gonna use the lamp, which is good. I don't know if he can really make do without another potion. Nice big magic drop. We had to leave, unfortunately. Telethar picked up his glasses again. He went to, he got his healthcare back, and now we can actually see again. Yeah, it looks like first time on the mountain, at least for Telethar. And I think everybody else. Nobody has really come over to Paradox. No hookshot, no hammer. So not a lot of access, I guess, to the rest of the mountain, other than because what we had earlier. Of course, with the hookshot, with the mitts, with the mirror, we can finally get back here. I would certainly not be surprised to see a hammer here in Super Bunny Hookshot Cave. I was hoping. Otherwise, we're gonna go hammer hunting for some really great locations. We've already kind of looked at Swamp map chest, which of course could have the hammer, but it wasn't, so that's at least something good. Of course, other fun locations with hammer could be in Pod, Ice Palace. Very nicely done on Andy's side. You really can't see the conveyors moving or anything. It's just kind of like a big black no lamp void. Yeah, very well done. In the back, tried and true. Crystal number 2. Alright, Jem, of course, heading over to his absolute favorite check in the entire game. He is known, in fact, as the Catholic guy. Was that a bow on pedestal? Is that what we saw? Oh, hilarious. Oh, the archer class? Well... Do you think that's our silvers? Or do you think that's our logical bow? What were our pendants again? Oh, Eastern. Eastern's pendant. Okay. Eastern's a pendant. Oh, no. Never mind. It depends on what was in Eastern. I don't necessarily... If that's not Bolog, then that could still be our logical bow. didn't realize that Jem didn't have his bow, his flute until now. Alright, yeah, Telethar picked up a shovel on Floating Island. That can still be something. Alright, but yeah, it looks like Andy is up on the mountain now. He will, looks like he is going to actually beat whatever Hera is. I don't actually know if we saw the... I assume at some point Daaanty had checked the boss here, but at least with the sword. And Argus can't be up here, Trias can't be up here, so he should be able to beat this boss, whatever it is. Marathon runner. Oh my gosh, Daaanty is going to die. Despite having red mail and 7 hearts, he just lost over half of his health trying to get through Death Mountain. So this being just kind of like a regular 7/7 non-key sanity seed, we picked up a lot of stuff. What else do we need for go mode? It does look like we will need a Quake medallion. That is the medallion entry for Turtle Rock. We'll need Samaria. Well, we'll see if we need Samaria for at least one member of the team. Perfect Unadulterated Gaming Squad is incredibly talented at using the boots. I believe Jem and Telethar are also very capable. That being said, I don't know if anybody has the desire to hover the entirety of Turtle Rock. So maybe getting Samaria is more practical. And of course, it does look like maybe we'll maybe need a bow, depending on what the bosses are and what the request. Oh no, the pot is crystal. Excuse me. So we will need a bow for sure. Oh, we got Samaria here in Cookshot Cave. Okay, thank you, Josh. Oh, and Windfish. Yeah, thank you. Maybe Pugs won't think that Samaria is worth it in Hookshot Cave. We can get some really fun hovers going. Although my guess is, given that their playoff spot is in contention, they probably want to try and save as much time as possible. Nice hammer, by the way, in Graveyard Ledge. What a terrible place, by the way, for that hammer. Oh, wow. Yeah, very nicely done on Andy's side. Really kind of showing off these somewhat low percentage boss fights for the Pugs here. He did, what was it, 4-heart or 5-heart cold stare in the back in Mothula's arena on Fighter Sword. Definitely was very patient and kind of waited in order for the right opportunities. Took down Vitreous, was also a pretty dangerous boss here in Upstairs Hera without a bow on Fighter Sword. And yeah, as Allison kind of pointed out, doing some very nice tactics. Especially without a hammer or really like anything to kill the big eye with easily. Once that big eye starts moving, you're kind of in for a world of pain unless you have some way to disperse of it quickly. And being able to kind of keep it locked in place while still doing damage, basically kind of defenseless, right? Alright, looks like though Andy is, presumably he's on his way to Graveyard Ledge as well, kind of checking Bumper Ledge, similar to what Telethar was doing. He probably will get the hammer soon for the Pugs team. Like how Andy is still sitting on 5 hearts. Alright, just for forewarning, for those of you who may not have necessarily maybe appreciated Telethar's mosaic stint in Blind, Jem also is about to lose his glasses very shortly. Alright, it looks like Telethar doesn't have to go back for Peace on big chest. Okay, Jem must have found it much earlier than I did. Than me watching Telethar's screen. So because he was able to check the big chest in Thieves Town with his hammer, so it looks like Telethar does not have to go back for it. All right, for those of you who do appreciate the mosaic, by the way, if you remember how good Telethar's was, rate what you think Jem's mosaic versus Telethar's was. It is co-op, in fact, which means that by default, teammates are always competing against each other to see who can beat each other. Never mind the fact they're actually playing an actual different team. I think Daaanty has run into the exact same statue that Telethar ran into earlier, but looks like maybe he was able to kind of scooch over a little to the right side. So it's able to not necessarily be as blocked as Telethar was earlier. Alright, Telethar though, with his Master Sword at least, trying to, just as well, knocking the puffs into the spikes. And yes, it is impossible to remember that the boss always drops the prize in the center of the arena as opposed to where the boss kind of ends up, let's say, dying. Just because, again, like it could be different locations depending on if you have multiple, like Holster, Lamos, whatnot. And so I think they just made it always at the center. That's different than if it's not at mines. Okay, time for Telethar to find out what is on pedestal. Hey, look! It's part of our team. So it does kind of make me wonder where that other bow is. If one of them is on pedestal. Yeah, but at this point, then, if we have Samaria, we're definitely looking for that quick medallion, and we are looking for, well, ideally the other bow that's not pedestal. Unless, of course, you know, again, they want to have an all dungeon too. Though, in the back of Eastern, having a knowledge that there is a bow on pedestal, maybe that is the one that they're gonna go for. I think this is also maybe a green pendant Eastern, so we do get one more prize if we collect at least the green one. So this is actually probably still pretty fine. I love the back of Eastern. Oh, yeah, Daaanty, yep, very, very heads up play. There is a reason why we love medallions in Enemizer as well. You actually can see people, especially in the Gauntlet, literally just spamming ether / bombo / whatever you have. If you have something, you have a bunch of random enemies that are extremely like buffed up. I don't know what he was doing though with the Spire Rod and Landmolus. But he's not on the use bow team, so he is not contractually obligated to use the bow. But in fact, he did use the wrong bow. Speaking of bows, by the way, Jem is also facing Vitreous in the Hera Arena, just like Andy did earlier. And Jem at least is blessed with a Master Sword, which was certainly one level above what Andy had. So he will have a little bit nicer time to, in this case, like spin and kill these eyeballs. And it looks like he might be trying to employ a very similar tactic to Andy. Oh, yeah, Jem also has a hammer too? Okay, well then, his weaponry is way better. Yeah, nice hammer hits. You can tell that Jem knows how to handle Vitreous without a bow. Yeah, very good progress on everybody's side. Definitely working towards their goal of collecting all of the crystals. So what can we still go beat right now, or what can we go do? We can beat Desert. We do know that Argus was back there as the boss, and having the hook shot, that is going to be something that's viable for us. And looking at least according to Daaanty's and Telethar's tracker, there is one item left, so presumably it is on the boss itself. We can go to Pod. That is an option. Nobody's been there yet, and would you be surprised to see a bow to this dungeon in Pod? I would certainly not be surprised to see that. Otherwise, we can start diving other pendant dungeons. It looked like Eastern had a lot of value, including what people were pointing out in chat was that even the green pendant turn-in was just a boomerang. Although I believe I said boomerangs were very worthwhile in this mode, but probably not necessarily like the progression that you were hoping to see. I think, yeah, somebody also mentioned Pyramid Fairy before. I didn't actually get a chance to catch what the 5-6 crystals are, but yeah, it looks like Andy's gonna go for it. That will be a new check for us. Looks like, yeah, 5-6, okay. We're very clearly marked on the tracker. Tower of Hera and Skull Woods, so that should be good. Nice bow! Other bow in Swamp Palace? Oh, wow. For those of you who are hoping that we're gonna pull pedestal for the actual for the other bow, I really don't want to be the bearer of bad news. I do not think that there is a lot of hope for that bow. You never know though. Like, we could maybe end up just beating all these other pendant dungeons to go look for our, I guess, hard required quake medallions. Very close. It is Bombos and Pyramid Fairy. Yeah, and Gem very quickly following suit here. Just kind of like earlier, Telethar, being Gem's teammate, has relayed a fact where now both bow locations are. You have to get at least one of them. So this is going to be certainly the faster of the two. Have we done a front of escape check, by the way? as we're kind of going in, 37 minutes into the sea. This is an open sea, so escape certainly is not required. But I don't think that anybody else other than Andy, who's here now, is doing the front of escape. Yep. You remember how you get deadrocked on the mountain, and then you're waiting for 8 seconds to do nothing? You can also have that inside dungeons as well. Isn't Enemizer great? Oh yeah, actually, okay. There's a question in chat. How did Daaanty miss that bow? This is actually a good question. I think Andy is gonna go and find the bow instead. The big key, for context, the bow is in Swamp Palace big chest, and the big key was on the boss. So my guess that Daaanty just didn't go back in afterwards, and Andy is going in now, and presumably he'll get his prize from the dungeon, but also go back and do big chest and probably left side as well. That's kind of like also what Telethar and Gem did as well. Telethar went in, Gem went in first, just did basically went zip to the boss. Telethar came back, went back in, and then Gem had to go back to Swamp for his bow. All right, first look into Pod. You might be wondering, in this case, why Telethar is going to not shoot a room first. I'm going to just do Bullock side. There is actually some science and theory behind this updated pod routing, and the hope is that shooter room just has a small key that you really just don't need, based on how the keys are into placing due to logic. So if there's a small key there, then you can actually just save yourself one whole trip into shooter room. There will be downsides. For example, if like there's the big key in shooter room, you still have to kind of go back there. And if you end up going to the back without the big key, maybe you have to go back to the big chest as well. I know they've worked out a bunch of science with this, and they seem to be okay with the risk rewards. So. Ooh, but Daaanty. All right, this is very different strategy from Pugs, Daaanty and Andy versus Telethar and Gem. It seems like Gem and Telethar are focused maybe a little bit more on overworld and then rushing crystal dungeons more so. Andy and Daaanty, this I think is their second pendant dungeon that they're exploring. And Gem, unfortunately, did not have a great relationship with Cold Stare, but that's what the fairy's for. Not just necessarily for morale boost and companionship. Try not to think about what happens to the fairy when the player is revived and the fairy disappears. Too bad that statue can't actually get enemized out. Would have been pretty funny. I'm sorry. Look, the fairy has gone to some great farms upstate. Those were like the best places that a fairy can be. Ooh, Daaanty finding... Ooh, did Daaanty find Quake here in Pendant Ice Palace? Very, very nice find. That is quite good for Pugs. Looks like Dante's gonna continue. He does not know about the bow quite yet. I believe this is collective go mode for everybody. Oh no. Okay, I have good news and bad news for the Pugs. The good news is that Daaanty has found Quake in Pendant Ice Palace, which still could be a while before Gem and Telethar decide to dive, make a commitment to really independent dungeons. The bad news for the Pugs is that both players decide to leave 2 items, I believe, in Swamp Palace. And yeah, we know that there is a Swamp Palace. There is the bow in Swamp Palace Big Chest, which the big key again was on the boss, so you had to actually go back in for it. Now, that being said, though, we do know where the other bow is, which is on pedestal, and that could be the one that both Andy and Daaanty are going for. Like, Daaanty right now, he's already got 2 pendants in hand. What's the third one? Mire? Which we do have access to with Ether. So, I mean, this could be a pedestal pull for the Pugs. I will certainly give you that if they just gone back into Swamp Palace and gotten the bow from Swamp Big Chest, it would have been a lot faster to take that bow instead of the one on pedestal, but that is knowledge, at least for them, that there is one on pedestal. And so maybe, especially against like a very formidable team as Gem and Telethar, maybe they don't want to take in like the extra, I don't know, like minute or 2 or 3 in order to explore. Go back to Swamp Pendant Ice Palace. Which I think kind of dashes my hopes for Usebo to use the bow on Lamolus, because I don't think they're going to show up anymore because it's a full boss shuffle. We are also seeing a feature that Telethar is kind of showing off in Logical Enemizer. In non-logical or previous Enemizer on the BT branch, they like any kill rooms, like turtles, mimics, whatever, Igors. all of those were guaranteed to not require any extra items than, let's say, like a sword or some sort of like melee weapon. That has been changed in Logical Enemizer. So like you can in fact think that, well, maybe I don't need the bow to go beat Eastern because all the enemies have been enemized out, so there's no bow requirement. You can still have mimics there, you can still have Igors there. The fun parts are that you can have dead rocks along certain rooms, like in the swamps, you have to go find powder or quake. Yeah, a little bit of trouble on the vanilla Helmosaur. Probably just honestly thrown telethar off because, like, who would guess that there's a vanilla boss in a dungeon for Enemizer? The most locked room. I think at some point they probably fixed like where BMOs can spawn so that they wouldn't necessarily block your path. But it was pretty funny in Thieves Town for whatever that statue appeared. Because it wasn't visible, at least telethar had no idea where he could able to dash. Ooh, do we get another goodie here in Mire? We got a nice tempered sword I see that Daaanty is sporting. Yeah, so this puzzle could be very interesting, by the way. I mean, so like, despite the fact that Andy and Daaanty have not gone back to Swamp Palace in order to go get their bow in Swamp Big Chest, the fact that they're kind of gunning for Pedestal and being able to pull it, we can actually go. They can just go mode all of their dungeons, right? And if you ever seen kind of if you've seen people do like just go mode dungeons, kind of like the very end, these dungeons actually can be pretty quick. Oh no, Andy forgot quake. Oh no. Oh no. Oh. Okay. The good news for Andy and Daaanty is that quake is pretty early, as pointed out in chat. That you don't have to go very far. I think it was what, Big Key Chest or something. So with Icebreaker and Samaria, it's probably only like, I don't know, a minute, 70, 80 seconds, something. Don't worry. Andy will certainly find out when he gets up the mountain. Hopefully, Daaanty will maybe say something to Andy, like, bro, you got quake before you go up? Yeah, quake was in Ice Palace, I believe it was Big Key Chest. So yeah, with Samaria, they should be fine. But it's just kind of like maybe there is some side effects, consequences of some mental damage of being able to forget this and then just knowing, oh my gosh, I have to go back into Ice Palace. I was literally right there, and you probably already made a mountain climb before you remember that you don't have it. Okay. Telethar, using the bow that I was honestly not expecting him to do. I mean, be here in the backup pendant Eastern. He only has the Master Sword. He can't even cheat on this fight. Actually, very nice bow fight for, this is what, early 3 cycle? So very well done. Alright. By the time that Gem has come back and going into pod and going to clear it, he has been informed by his teammate that the only thing of value in Eastern Palace is the boss fight itself, and unfortunately that's probably not time that they're willing to give up at this point. Yeah, but I mean, Andy and Daaanty, despite they're going for, what is it, basically 1.5 extra dungeons for pendants over Telethar and Gem, making very, very nice progress. Because, so Daaanty already has beaten, what is it, Argus at Vitreous' spot? Like, he already has all 3 pendants, he just has to go and get his crystal off of Oh, well, sorry, I wasn't saying Lamos. The other Argus in the backup desert. It does look like that Telethar and Gem will be finishing up on Master Sword Silverless. Certainly Silverless, because they're not going to get the other bow. Now, I guess it is kind of a question as to where the fourth sword is. We did see that Meyer did have the Tempered Sword, so Pugs are pretty set in terms of weaponry. And they're certainly not going to get the other bow either. They're not going to get silvers. If they were going to get silvers, I would maybe question their decision to defeat the other 3 pendant bosses and pull pedestal. Okay, looks like it was not Vicky Chest. Maybe it was Map Chest here coming up. Alright, it is Map Chest. We are out of here. Yep, very apt mirror. And yeah, with that, at 15 minutes, Telethar and Gem are in collect go mode. The information has been relayed. Gem, my guess is, why couldn't you find a sword first? Yeah, it looks great. Double Argus, double Amos. You think this is a good lesson for future players? By the way, I'm just saying, use bow. Use the bow on Landmos, and they're in go mode first. Whereas Pugs use the fire rod. Has actually no bearing whatsoever, but you know, just going with the themes. This is a great room, by the way. Right side desert. I don't think there existed a single enemy that could have been killed with like one sword slash. You can see Andy's convenience with just being able to slash everything versus using the Tempered Sword at home, which is what Telethar had to go do. Notably, for all of these bosses that have shown up in all these dungeons, we have not seen a Trinex yet. And I believe we might actually be due for one. Just trying to think of all the other bosses we have. So I don't believe we've seen an Armos Knight, and we haven't seen Trinex. We've seen 2 Arguses, we've seen 2 Land Milices. We've seen 1 Helmasaur, 1 Blind, 1 Vitreous. So there are kind of like a limited number of options remaining in Ganon's Tower when we have to, I guess, beat at least 2 of the bosses. Kind of depends in this case if we have to go to the Big Key Room. That's always the most fun part of Ganon's Tower, at least for the fans and for the viewers. See in this case what kind of obstacle lies on the ice. Blind in that arena is extremely fun. Trinex, bring potions. Bring potions, half magic, cape, whatever you have at your disposal. Yeah, but I think at this point, I would certainly imagine that we would see at least 1 more Armos Knight or Trinex, or yeah, I think actually it's a good point. Mothula actually could be at Moldorm 2 spot, yeah. Yeah, that's also a boss that we haven't seen so far, and presumably Well, let's see. So Armos and Trinix cannot be at the Moldorm 2 arena spot. I guess Moldorm 2 can be there. Mothla can be there. So we'll probably actually see one of those. Gem in Pendant Ice Palace. Nice, nice Igor. He is not picking up the 2 rupees. Did you know, by the way, in the map room, the top 2 pots there are 2 green rupees, and for some reason he doesn't want to pick them up. That was part of, I don't know, Tato's trivia, I guess, night game show. I did not know there were 2 green rupees in those pots, but now I do. Telethar facing off against Vitreous at the Moldorm arena. Coming here, probably one of the latest times that you could before going on to Gannis Tower and Turtle Rock. He is really not here with that much better equipment. Like, yes, he does have the cape and half magic, and he does have the bow, but still not better swords. Did Daaanty get bunny beams on that hallway? Hilarious. I was like, his pug sprite looks a little different and lighter. Ah, yes, that does make sense. And yeah, this is also part of the things that Logical Enemizer includes in the pool. You saw statues, bumpers. Those were common. And then you also see saw chickens, fairies, bunny beams. All of these things where they really weren't included beforehand in the original Enemizer version, because at that point, like, while yeah, things were Enemized, it just didn't have as much latitude. And this one just, oh yeah, there's a lot more fun. Nice little like tiny mini roller here, by the way. very very efficient for Ganyan's minions. Alright, there is pendant number 3 down for Andy. Gonna go and Fluter to go to get Pedestal. Go get his bow. Daaanty getting somewhat caught off guard that yes, in fact, the back of pod is bow locked. Just not the place that he kind of expected it to be. Alright, so Telethar and Gem. Gem a little bit ahead of Telethar right now. Are hoping that another sword pops up en route, like somewhere here in Turtle Rock, as they're searching for the big key, and of course the other small keys, and whatever their path is for finding the gold sword, or not the gold sword, the big key in GT. Alright, crystal number something down for Daaanty. They have, what do they have left to clean up? They have Hera, and it looks like just Pod? Yeah, Andy's gonna go and beat Pod, and then head on up and beat Turtle Rock, and then onwards to GT. And Daaanty is... he's already got on the mountain, so Hera itself won't take very long. With his current loadout, I really don't see Daaanty taking very long on the Vitreous fight either. It's not going to be as fast as a Moldorm fight, but I don't think it'll be much slower than that. Oh yes, great point. Quick draw. Yes, very good reminder for people that we are hoping that Andy does remember that he still does not have that very important Quake medallion. It is vanilla pendants for Meyer and Turtle Rock. And the Quake medallion was an Ice Palace map chest, and Andy had already gone through it. And I think that maybe it was just an oversight that he ended up not picking it up. Yes, yeah, the trackers are accurate. We're just actually capturing the runner's tracker, and everyone uses auto-tracking. So very, very convenient to be able to keep up with everything. And yeah, so the lack of the quick medallion is not. Did Andy forget to click it, or or did like the tracker eat the input or something? I think he just actually doesn't have it, which is, yes, it's certainly a very big liability for the pugs. I always kind of wonder sometimes in Enemizer, like how much you can relay information to your teammate about what is in these rooms. Be careful of wall masters. There's a roller here that can just kill you if you don't move away immediately, type of thing, because it can be a lot of information, especially when you're also trying to survive. Yeah, Gem and Telethar are going to face off. Oh, I did forget about Turtle Rock itself. It could, in fact, have a vanilla Trinex. And in fact, it is not a vanilla Trinex, but it is a bow boss, which is Armos Knights. Slightly different type of fight in that, like, you can see the corners of the room, right? They're filled with spikes, and so could actually just be like a little bit different in terms of maneuvering. Like maybe you can't necessarily like set things up the way you initially wanted to for a regular quick kill. You can see different versions in this case of how Armos is being killed. Berna is in fact a very good weapon. Also probably because Telethar used a lot of his arrows already on Lambolus. Alright, first one to GT with Master Sword. Hopefully, Gem and Telethar have faith and that there will be a sword here. Looks like Gem is starting out on left side. I'm gonna assume that Telethar. Never mind. We're just gonna go with the with the big key on the torch. So those of you who are hoping for a late GT, sorry. I know that Gem and Telethar were hoping for a late big key because they're still looking for a sword, and they do not want to see an early bow. You can also see, in this case, Gem going over to Southwest Room, just hoping for that like extra sword or something. It is not in Southwest Room. I think we're climbing. All right. For those of you who like to place favorites or bets on which use bow member is your favorite, this is when Gem and Telethar start racing versus each other. And yeah, not to just distract from the tragedy that's befalling Andy literally right now. I'm sorry, we do not have the quick medallion, and unfortunately, yes, Andy looks like we will have to go back to Ice Palace. Now, I don't actually think that that was the, like, one thing. Like, even if Andy had remembered the Quake Medallion, I don't think it would have necessarily made a difference. Just based on how all the other things in the race would have gone. It is, yeah, Ruby, like, absolutely correct. It is just, like, it is such a bad feeling. Like, you've already full cleared a bunch of dungeons. Intentionally, in this case. But that's the bow in this case that you wanted to go for. But then having to, like, you've already climbed the entirety of the mountain, which is going up to Dark Death Mountain. Nice rooms, by the way. Get the medallion out. Yeah, you've already gone through the entirety of the way, up till at the medallion entry point, right, to activate for Turtle Rock, and then you realize it, and then you're like, oh my gosh, and you have to go back to Ice Palace, and then come up the mountain again. Oh, see, this is when we would love to have some version of Master Sword, or not Master Sword, Tempered Sword. Does anybody actually know what kills Lynels quickly? Is it anything other than just Gold Sword slashes? Like Fire Rod doesn't work on them, right? Ice Rod doesn't work on them. Silvers? Oh, Silver. Silvers, great. Yes, good point. Wouldn't it be nice if we had Silvers? You think we can convince Gem and Telethar to go back and beat like 2 more pendant dungeons in order to go get them? There are 2, in fact, gauntlet rooms here that have the bow as a logical requirement. I was gonna say, Gem has somehow pulled out ahead of his teammates, but Telethar having a little bit of issues with these Igors. We talk about actually not having any popcorn for ice physics or ice rooms. Telethar might die. He does have a blue potion, which I'm really hoping he uses right now. Who knew that this was going to be the Igor Achilles heel for Team Yu's bow? Ironically, one of the only enemies that could be killed with a bow. And we finally got to see a Trinex here in the Lemos 2 arena. This, I think, is one of the reasons why. It's just a very good idea to have either some amount of magic extension. Extra green potion, half magic certainly is very nice if you haven't already found it by now. I would also not have been surprised if anybody on Telethar or Gem's team go to a potion shop real quick before heading up the mountain, just in case you end up fighting anything that you might end up having some issues with. And you really don't like dying in GT at any point and then running out of resources is even more costly in this mode. And that shooter, oh my gosh, shoot! One day we will be upgraded to a tempered sword. Today is not that day. And just like that, Gem, after a near-death experience for his teammate, has regained his lead. I like the muscle memory, by the way. Oh my gosh, it's Telethar. He has another blue potion. I wouldn't worry too much about it, but potions don't do anything if you die prematurely. So I don't know what Telethar's desires are for— oh my gosh, Gem. He does a fairy, okay. Alright. That's at least something. I don't know if he would have been playing this risky otherwise. Now you might be thinking, Clear Mouse, these guys have red mail. You can't die if you have red mail. They're trying real hard. Really putting this armor to the test. Yeah, we had definitely seen throughout the gauntlet, and this is one of, I think, the reasons why even after blue mail, maybe even before blue mail, some people value heart containers more just total health, especially going through the gauntlet. Here, in this case, it was a little bit more exacerbated because nearly every single enemy just did 1 heart, regardless of what your armor was, and so especially on ice physics, even the Lynels can do a lot of damage. Those rats also are pretty buffed up because they're Dark World rats, so they'll take 2 hearts off you on green mail. We have our second Vitreous. And no sword to speak of. Telethar really did not want to be Vitreous, and I have certainly seen this tactic come up. I won't say frequently, but it is certainly something that's very viable in Enemizer, especially if you have like Helmosaur up here, or even like Cold Stare, where and you're not on great equipment. It actually might take shorter for you to basically try and skip out on this boss altogether, than for you to basically try and take it down. Yeah, Telethar now knows that there's not going to be well, second bow or Temper Sword coming, so he doesn't care about arrows anymore. Yeah, MSS fights, yep, This is something I know that every runner looks forward to when they're playing Enemizer Siege. Alright, but Gem, yeah, is through Agatu. On his way to Ganon. Telethar following shortly behind. Looks like, at least Gem dropping in, has half magic, and half magic is sufficient, and the lamp, I was gonna say. Can you also use Fire Rod here? The half magic will certainly make things a lot more comfortable to be able to use the Fire Rod in conjunction with Samaria, which is what Gem is doing now. Yeah, Daaanty going through this, looking at his tracker, he does have a fairy, it looks like. And having a fairy in a bottle, I think honestly is having, like, just the fact that you have it means that you can play as aggressively as you want. And then even if you take a hit, alright, well then you can use the fairy, and then you can just play, let's say, like more normally if you need to. Or we'll just go get the fairy from this room, no problem. Arguably, a fairy to bottle is probably one of the best safeties you have for low percent, because you can just kind of play as normal, you don't have to worry about anything else. And, you know, it's better than a potion, for example, because a potion, you have to use it before your imminent demise. Fairy will actually just save you outright. Alright, Shab, on the way almost to phase 4. Did you find the bow on the pedestal? Well, we sure read the pedestal, that's for sure. Yeah, very nice getting torch glitch. While in the state of the race, I don't think it would have mattered so much, even if Gem had like mid torch glitch. Made sure to basically get it. Yeah, Telthar's also going after the lamp. I hope he has enough magic for this, actually. Lamp, I think it still should be okay. But he probably just can't necessarily use the fire rod in order to kind of get these like more practiced triples. But yeah, being on Master Sword Silverless, especially for phase 4, it just takes much longer. So you have it's just more of like an endurance battle. We will certainly see a difference between when Daaanty drops in and beats Ganon. He'll have Tempered Sword, so his fight will be a little bit more textbook. I wonder what they're going to say or think when they read where the silvers are, or in this case, like the other bow, and then they're gonna say like, oh, like, did you find it in Swamp Palace? I wonder what they're actually gonna think. Because both of them consciously skip left side swamp. Daaanty being the first one going in, very understandably, skip left side swamp. There's a lot of stuff out there that he and his teammate hadn't opened up yet. And same kind of situation with Gem. On use bow side, and Telethar being the second one in, decided to not skip it. Alright, well that is finish time. First place for what looks like to be a continued undefeated record for Team Usebo. Big GG's to Gem, finishing first place, 114-13. Right, and second place. Congratulations to Telethar. Yeah, and first, second finishes means that they will, in fact, take on a 1-0 lead in the series versus the Pugs. Alright, and we are also joined by today's voting winners, Gem and Telethar. GG's.
GG. Thank you.
Well done. Alright, Telethar, I think the decision, or the team decision for you guys to go back into Swamp was certainly a very good one. Because that was in fact where the other bow was, and that Andy and Daaanty, big GG's to them. Looks like Daaanty's finishing up, and Andy, I assume he forfeited in the race room. That was the one bow that they did not know about. They read Ped earlier, just like you guys did, and then they decided to go for Ped. And not look back.
Yeah, we were still missing Quake, so 3 items in Swamp was a pretty good play for us. We were definitely going to Ped. If Quake showed up, we would have done Ped too. But I don't know, we didn't have that many things that made sense to go back for at that point, so.
Yo, Daaanty, you're also joined by the Pugs. Andy is also in this.
Andy, get in here!
Yo, Andy, Daaanty,
Yo, GG's, guys.
GG's.
So from the race time room, I hear that we did vastly different things for that bow.
Correct.
Kinda.
Jeez.
Yeah, it looks like so the strategy maybe, and I don't know if this was somewhat like planned out already. Telethar and Gem did a lot more like overworld stuff in order to try and look for things, whereas it looks like Daaanty and Andy, you guys died more pendant dungeons, and I'm pretty sure you guys were first to that Quake medallion, and then the other one of course was Telethar being the second one into Swamp, went back in because at that point they didn't have Quake yet. So yeah, Telethar was saying earlier that with 3 items left and no Quake, then they were going to go back in. And maybe for you guys, because you already found Quake, and you knew where a bow was, maybe that was like a different strategy shift at that point. Like you didn't want to go back in anymore.
At that point, yes. But I was going back in until I said, hey, I have 1 bomb. I can't go back in, can I? And he was like, yeah, no. So...
Well, there's bombs in the room, right?
Yeah, there are. But it was like, whatever. There's a lot of overworld. We wanted to prioritize overworld, and since Andy had already...
All right, wait. Was the bow left side or big chest?
Big chest.
That's worse.
Okay, so...
Left side had a mushroom.
Andy can quote me.
Yeah. He asked, and I was like, well, you can't hit the switch. Like, you'd have to use a bomb to hit the switch anyways, because he was only fighter sword at the time, too.
Yeah.
You can just hit the switch. Like, you can just go around the peg. You don't need to bomb it.
Oh, true. That's slow, though.
And Samaria also works.
We didn't have Samaria. We got...
Oh, okay.
We went to Swamp. Swamp was like my first crystal dawn. I had no magic. Oh, wait, I did have magic. Smile. Whatever. Look, I made the comment to Andy. I said, we're going to make a play on this. I was like, so let's just go for Ped because we got nothing to lose. So I was like, Bo's just going to be in GT or first chest of pod guaranteed. So we'll be fine.
Yeah, and then when Daaanty finally got to Meyer, the key was red mimic lock, and we're like, this might be worse.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But there was a tempered sword in there, so that was nice. And we never found another one.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
But the big key was
the key unfortunately was on the torch. So.
Yeah. Yeah, Meyer Big was behind the torches, so you needed 3 keys. And we were like, yeah, there might be a bow not in GT today.
2 keys.
2 keys for the torch?
Yeah, if the big key is on there, it's 2 key locked.
Then we were fine. I think. I don't know. I don't remember what was on Vidi.
Is that true on DOS branch?
I don't know
I
what
have
was
no
on.
idea.
That's a great question.
I don't remember what happened 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, I was going through Skull and I was like, is pinball still a small key in this? And as I pulled like 3 straight small keys in Skullwoods, I was like, well, that answered my question anyways. But yeah, I did 5-heart, Fighter Sword, Cold Stare and Skull, and Vidi and Hera, hoping for like a God Pyramid Fairy pull. It was nice bombos.
Yeah. I was thinking nice that maybe there's at least Holster in the climb and it'll be helpful, but then it was the other boss that eats a lot of magic.
Yeah, let's see. Around when I was clearing Laser Bridge, or about to be at Laser Bridge, was when Andy said, "Uh-oh, I forgot my Quake." And I was like, well,
Yep.
I'll keep mapping this out. I'll just check every last thing on Laser Bridge because it doesn't matter now.
And then he still didn't write down where powder was, so I didn't get that either.
You deserved it.
Yeah.
You had Quake. You could kill Deadrock. She'll be fine.
Yeah, Deadrocks is what I was worried about at 6 hearts.
So, did you guys enjoy the Gauntlet?
Yep, I had 6
I got
hearts.
destroyed in the Gauntlet.
Dude, it was so funny.
That was pretty good.
It's so much worse without Tempered Sword too.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah, dude, going into desert early and like, all right,
Yep.
there's a bunch of pins on the way to Torch. Daaanty, be careful. Oh, come back with a better weapon so you can get the big key. Oh man, this was like all the rest of our enemizers that we've done were like pretty not difficult, and then this one's just throwing like chain chomps, rolling pins, pokies, slugs all over the light world. We're like, okay.
Yeah, the trip to Ice Rod Cave was just.
I lost my fairy there.
Yeah.
Daaanty, meanwhile, he's like 11 hearts, red mail going up GT, and he's like, oh, I got my fairy too. I'm like, yeah, I wish I had that.
Hey, Andy, what's your collection rate? Boot up Stonks tracker.
Oh yeah, let's see.
He was saying you're probably gonna destroy on collections between the two of us. So,
Yep, hold on.
Curious.
Let me
Destroyed me.
pop it open.
Yeah, overall-
101.
Oh,
we
dang.
crushed you guys. Not even close.
Dang.
That one check diff.
We both opened 2. I think Gem opened 4, and I opened 2 chests on the climb. So
I opened 2. I hit the left one just in case it was Silver's because that was where like the key was, and I'm like, oh, another key, cool. I'll do the next chest, and then that was like 3 bombs or something. So
I doubled back for the Thief's Song Compass.
oh my god. The biggest regret was not having any statues, like especially in Mire 2 or Mire 1. I was really looking forward to that. I've heard great things about it.
You know where a great statue was? Thieves Town, going en route to Compass and Vicky Chest.
no, that was a Deadrock.
Oh, that was a dead rock? Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
not to
it
be
was funny. I
confused-
was there without a sword, so I got through by just holding down, but telethar was there with the sword, so he couldn't get down because of that.
Oh my god. Sometimes they are statues.
GG's though.
Yeah,
We need to
GG's
schedule
guys.
The second one of these, unless we're just doing Sunday.
Yeah, I think we can probably do the Sunday afternoon deal.
All right, sounds
Like-
good.
Something like 2, but I looked at your score. I'm like, bro, there's got to be like an error there. Nope, y'all just smoking everybody, man. Come on.
Undefeated. Yeah. And he did use the bow on Pendant Lamos at Eastern. I like how both Lamoses were in Pendant bosses.
Yeah, I mean, we just got to be, fair to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Give no wins up, Just wouldn't be fair otherwise. It's been pretty lucky, so
I think me and Daaanty are actually the opposite of undefeated in co-op together.
We actually are. So I think you guys should be very excited for Sunday once we get that on the schedule. So yeah, we are the two unks are like mega cooked. Season 8, expect some logo changes with like big old beards and wrinkly pugs down there, or something like that.
Werf requested his have B-Bobble on it somewhere.
Nice.
Big fan.
Yeah, thanks for doing comms, Clear Mouse. I didn't think we were actually going to have comms for this, but yeah, should be fun to check out the VOD. And GG's again, guys. Was a good time.
Yeah, GG's.
Yep.
Yeah, GG's. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
thanks,
seconding
guys.
that. Thank you for hopping on the comms here, Clemos. All alone.
Oh, it's all good. It was very, very last minute. I did not think that this was gonna happen either. So yeah, but big GG's, and hopefully you guys will have some fun on. Well, it'll be telethar and Mike, right? Not you.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, good luck versus Pugs.
Assuming Mike's internet exists by then.
Yes. That's a good point. Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys enjoy the race, and yeah, right. And I think coming up there is an open league match: Shin and Arya versus Rhinox and Dirthus on SG2. It's half an hour. And then I think there are a couple more also matches tonight. So lots of Enemizer action. But yeah, so definitely enjoy your time. And yeah, GG's guys. Congratulations on one more game until perfect record. So best of luck and hope you have fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Yeah. Stay tuned for more Enemizer stuff. And we'll catch you later. See ya.